A little kitten was sent out to catch some mice, but when it saw how many mice there were, it froze in fear. The kitten quickly jumped onto the couch. Meanwhile, the mice started moving in swarm toward the kitten. Instantly, the kitten became nervous and leapt from the couch straight onto the wardrobe. Meanwhile, Dabbing just sat on the couch watching everything unfold. The kitten stared down in terror as all the mice gathered around the wardrobe. They began furiously gnawing at its legs. Thanks to their combined efforts, the wardrobe's leg was soon chewed through. Just as the wardrobe started to wobble and was about to fall, the kitten made a daring leap to the floor, then dashed past the mice and escaped to the basement. Looking around, the kitten spotted a hole and climbed up a pipe, preparing to escape outside. But Dabbing was already waiting inside the pipe. Suddenly, Dabbing charged out and knocked the kitten back into the crowd of mice below. That night, Rad and the little white mouse were getting ready to rest when Dabbing climbed onto the bed. Rad suddenly grabbed a stick and swung it hard. Dabbing had no choice but to run away. Rad chased him all the way to the cloakroom, where he discovered a big hole Dabbing's entry point. Rad sealed the hole tightly with tape. But the next morning, Rad found the stick had been chewed into a pile of wood chips, and Dabbing was nearby. Watching him, Rad quickly checked the cloakroom hole and found it intact. It seemed Dabbing had another way to get into the room. Later, as Rad was getting ready for work, he found Dabbing already inside his briefcase. With no other option, Rad took both Dabbing and the little white mouse to the office. To avoid being discovered, Rad locked them in the storage room temporarily. Just as Rad sat down at his desk, he received a notice of termination. Furious, he stormed into the boss's office to demand an explanation. Years ago, when Rad's father sold the factory, one condition was that Rad could work there for life. But the boss had turned his back on him and insisted on firing him. Feeling weak, Rad begged the boss for mercy. At that moment, a scream came from the warehouse. The boss rushed to check and, upon seeing the mice, viciously stabbed the little white mouse with a stick. Rad stood by helplessly, watching. When the little white mouse died tragically, Rad was overwhelmed with pain. Years of suppressed hatred finally erupted. He vowed to avenge the little white mouse. Rad gathered an army of mice and packed them all into suitcases. Since there were so many, they had to be transported by truck. Meanwhile, the boss was still busy working overtime, but Rad had already arrived with his army of mice.